Good morning, everybody. This is, what day is today? Tuesday. Tuesday morning. Crypto Talk. We're going to get started in just a second. Yes, I do forget what day it is sometimes. So we're going to get started in just a second. Welcome. Good morning. Hope you guys are off to a good start today. I know I am. Getting this set up here. What's happening, everybody? What's going on? I see you, my foos. Pamela, good morning. Good morning to you. Marquise, that's right, 10,000. What's going on, Mike? What's going on, Jeanette? Tuesday morning. You know, and I said that news happens so fast that it's forcing me to do at least two Facebook Lives a day for new updates. Problem is, that's not even enough because stuff is happening while I sleep, and I don't sleep that much. What's going on, Greg? Yeah, I don't know if it's me getting old or the fact that every day is almost like a Groundhog Day for me because I only know my days depending on the schedule of my kids. You know, every day's a Friday for me. What's going on, JJ? Let's talk about Bitcoin. I found a screenshot I did on July 31st. And at that time, Bitcoin was worth $2,900 a coin. To be exact, $2,924 a coin on July 31st. And everybody at that time was like, is it going to reach 3,000? Everyone was getting excited that it was about to reach $3,000. And rightfully so, because just 7 months before, Bitcoin was worth less than $1,000, like $800 a coin. And here we are, 7 months later, it's about to reach 3,000. During this time, I was in the crypto space, but I was limited. I was still in my research zone. I spent months researching and learning about this before I pulled my wallet out and started to invest. I did invest at that time. I just got into mining. Bought a mining machine, $3,200. But that's a safe bet because, you know, would you rather buy the golden goose or the golden egg? No. So I bought the golden goose. That's going to produce me more eggs. But I was still learning at the time. We didn't pull the trigger onto really investing until 15 days later, August 15th. And here we are, you know, and I remember, you know, like yesterday because it was only a couple months ago. It's not like we're talking about ancient history. Just a couple months ago. And I remember people telling me, Brandon, you shouldn't do that. Brandon, you're going to lose all your money. Brandon, people going to jail. Brandon, it's a scam. It's a bubble. I remember all of that. And here we are, just like 4 months later, and Bitcoin is at $10,000 a coin. What they say is the greatest revenge is massive success. Documentation beats conversation all day long. How foolish do you look? Continuing to ignore this space, continuing to act like it's not relevant, that it's not real, that it's fake news. And yet every day history's being made. I did a Facebook Live yesterday morning and Bitcoin was at $9,400. The highest it's ever been. And I said this is happening faster than I can keep up with. I didn't expect it to hit 10,000 until the end of December. Now it hit 10,000 before December was even here. We still got a couple of days to go in this month. The CME hasn't even hit yet. So we're going to go over this because there's a couple of articles. And let me make sure I even got those articles up. I thought I hit them up because there's a couple. I did not do late night crypto talk last night. I was watching the Laker game and fell asleep. I woke up at like 2 in the morning, was like, oh man, what happened? I was watching the Laker game, fell asleep. So I did not do late night crypto talk last night. So there's some articles I was going to cover last night that I will cover this morning. Like 10 things Bitcoin is now bigger than. Bitcoin is a safe haven from the financial system collapse. What else was I going to cover last night? Let's see here. This was us, what? The Satoshi Revolution? No, that's later on. I've been reading that privately. I need to record that. That's history. People need to know. Regulation Roundup, Kenya, Ghana, and Algeria. No, I don't want to talk about that. Not yet. This one is the cryptocurrency market. Oh yeah, last night while I was still awake, cryptocurrency did. The entire market reached over $300 billion. That was history in the making. It's on a march to $1 trillion. $300 billion last night. So yeah, before I get to this Bitcoin use in Iran, yeah, that's an important one. And the largest Bitcoin market, Japan, loose regulations. Doesn't bode well. Yeah, I don't want to read that one. So let's go back to some of the things I was going to cover last night, and then I'm going to pull up some other articles. So as Bitcoin is beginning to rise, investors are going to start looking at it like a safe haven, like they did gold, you know, to hedge against inflation. Where are you going to put your money? You want to put your money in a safe place. Gold, Bitcoin. So here's this link to this article right here. Let me paste that. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. Yeah, that's Bitcoin Safe Haven. The Coin Telegraph. All right. So Bitcoin Safe Haven. Bitcoin could become a safe haven for investment professionals if the traditional monetary system collapses, says an analyst at prominent social trading platform eToro. Speaking to Russia Today, Mikhail said the demand for Bitcoin is growing as the crypto market has become less volatile. Oh, that's the first time I started to hear that. They're now saying that the market is starting to become less volatile. Hey, JJ, you're not going to hear nothing from Jamie in about a couple of weeks. You'll hear from Jamie Dimon on around when the CME launches its futures around December 11th. A lot's happening December 11th. Keep that date. So his comments come at a time when the digital currency market is experiencing record highs. Earlier today, it was reported that Bitcoin was within touching distance of $10,000. The article was yesterday, when it reached $9,771 for the first time. As a result of rising cryptocurrency prices, the combined market value has reached over $300 billion, according to CoinMarketCap, making it more valuable than Visa. Are you kidding me? Not only that, but positive events are taking place in the sector, helping to bump the cryptocurrency's price up. Next month, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange Group, CME, is planning to launch a Bitcoin futures contracts pending regulatory approval. Wall Street bank JP Morgan Chase is also considering helping its clients to bet on the price of the digital currency with its own Bitcoin futures. Hold up. You just asked about Jamie Dimon? He's the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. So let me read that again. Jamie Dimon, the same guy who's calling it a fraud, a scam, a bubble, and all that crap. What's happening with his company? Wall Street bank JP Morgan Chase is considering helping its clients to bet on the price of the digital currency with its own Bitcoin futures. This is despite the fact that Jamie Dimon, CEO, has criticized the cryptocurrency in the past. Yeah, like a couple of weeks ago. Yet regardless of this, some hedge fund platforms are avoiding the cryptocurrency as they fear it may be a fad. Machinko believes, though, that we may be seeing the digital currency reach $10,000 in a month or so. How about, see, this article was just yesterday. And this guy thought it would reach 10,000 in a month. No, it happened the very next day. However, such a surge will be based on emotions, not on fundamental factors. Yeah, I think that's true. So further growth of the cryptocurrency will require something more than euphoria. Yeah, the CME. Right now, it's based on emotions because nobody wants to miss out. I agree with that part. But when the CME goes live, you now have billions of dollars being poured in because it is of substance. Billionaire trader and hedge fund manager Mike Novogratz is of the opinion that $10,000 will be achieved for the cryptocurrency before the end of the year. Yeah, he still missed that out. Tomorrow, meaning today. He believes this is because of a lack of trust with central banks, consensus, and scarcity. In a previous interview in October, the former Fortress manager stated that the Wall Street herd will carry the Bitcoin price to 2,000 within 6 to 10 months. It's happening right now. Nobody's predicted this. I was wrong. I didn't think it was going to happen until the end of the year or next year. Novogratz has invested $500 million. He didn't think it was going to happen until next year. 6 months. It happened now. You guys see that? What do you predict will happen December 11th? This is what Jan says. What I think was going to happen, it might double. The way, I can't be conservative anymore. Just based on what this thing is doing, we're looking at because it's not just the CME coming on board. It's the CME, it's the CBOE in Chicago. It's also the Man Group in the UK. We're talking about this thing doubling. It can go 20K by February, maybe January. I'm actually hurting right now. And the reason I say I'm hurting, there's two ways to make money in this space. The first way is to buy and hold. And that is what the people who got involved with Bitcoin years ago, and they were able to buy 5, 10, 20, 50, 200, 500 Bitcoins, and they just sat on it. And they're still holding today. Those are the huge winners. Today, it's difficult for the average person to be able to purchase 15, 20, 100 Bitcoins because it's worth $10,000 a coin right now. So to sit on those and wait 5 years for it to reach $100,000. So it's kind of priced out for the average person to use that strategy, the buy and hold strategy. Because right now it's the second best time to be in Bitcoin. The way I do it, my strategy is not buy and hold. My strategy is to buy and flip. Meaning, in fact, I don't even buy Bitcoin. I earn Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin I earn, I live off of. I've been living off of crypto for months now. 100%. So what I do is I let my money make more money for me in the investing. Jan is doing this right now. Jan is killing it. I'm not going to say how. Yeah, well, he's got half a $500,000 in there already invested. But here's what we're doing. We're letting our money work for us. So if I were to spend $10,000 right now on one Bitcoin, and I were to sit on it, and let's say by the end of 2018, it got up to $100,000 a coin, I would have made a $90,000 profit if I were to sell. That ain't bad, right? But the way we're doing it, the way me and Jan's doing it, I can put $10,000 in an investment in the Bitcoin space. And 1 year from now, make over $1 million. So what is a smarter thing to do? Hold the Bitcoin, one Bitcoin to make 90,000, or let that Bitcoin work for me and make $1 million. But you got to know what you're doing. And that's a whole different topic right now. And I will do another Facebook Live dedicated just to that, for people who believe that it's too late for them to get involved in the crypto space and the Bitcoin space because Bitcoin is too expensive now. You're gonna have to listen from the beginning, Dan. But I'm still in the early, so sit back and relax. So let me continue with this article. With the digital currency becoming the world's 30th largest currency, many are closely watching where it will head next, whether that's up or down in price. Ronnie Moss, founder of Standpoint Research, thinks that it has the potential to reach $14,000 in 2018. Oh, it's going to be higher than that. After revising his price target from $11,000. Since the beginning of 2017, Bitcoin's price has surged 870% in value. At the start of January, it was trading at $1,000. At the time of publishing, it's valued at $9,702. Figures from CoinMarketCap indicate. Here's another thing I want you guys to understand, and this is for you haters out there that have been following us for the past few months and don't understand how we can make so much money flipping our Bitcoin. It's not possible. It's not realistic. It's not sustainable that you can make that much money. Really? If Bitcoin was worth $700 a year ago and it's worth $10,000 today, you're still stating that it's not possible? Look at how much percentage of growth happened. Do you know how much money was flowing through people's hands during that period of time? Of course it's possible. It's more than possible. Well, I don't see, people aren't making that type of money on Wall Street and stock because the stock market doesn't have the type of volatility and is not growing at that size that Bitcoin is. It's not growing that as fast as it is. So when you have something moving that high, 870% in value, can you imagine Microsoft stock growing 870% in value in 1 year? Can you imagine what will happen to the stock market? Nothing is doing what this is doing. That's why there's so much money to be made. I want to pull up the next article, but let me get the latest news here. Because I want to cover what experts are already going to be saying for the future. I like this one. Bitcoin is what email was in the early 90s. Novogratz rebushes Bitcoin bubble. Yeah, that's 4 hours ago. Okay, I'm going to get to that in a second. All right, that was the end of this article. The next one, 10 things Bitcoin is bigger than now. All right, let me put this link in the chat box. 10 things that Bitcoin is bigger than right now. You might have heard about this Bitcoin thing. It's been in the news a lot. Something to do with it passing 8,000, 9,000. Oh, no, wait. Where are we now? It's hard to keep pace. No one knows where Bitcoin will be a day, a week, or a year from now. I certainly didn't. I went to sleep last night. Bitcoin was at 97, 9,800. And it crossed 10,000 while I was asleep. And I got to remember, Asia is wide awake while we're asleep. They're going to work. But at this moment in time, Bitcoin is bigger than the following things. All right, bigger, stronger, and better. In 1966, John Lennon courted controversy by stating that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus. 51 years later, and Bitcoin is hitting biblical levels of its own. Boasting of what Bitcoin is bigger than may seem childish, the equivalent of first graders arguing over whose dad is bigger. Nevertheless, it provides a useful snapshot of where Bitcoin is at right now and of how far it's come. It's also a helpful way of quantifying an intangible asset. It was 4 years ago today that Bitcoin surged past $1,000 for the first time. That milestone seems quaint now. Bitcoin has gained $100 billion in the last month alone. Think about that for a second. It has gained $100 billion in the last month alone. The virtual currency is officially now bigger than several venerable institutions and major countries. PayPal. How many of you have a PayPal account? Bitcoin surged past PayPal weeks ago and is on course to double the market cap of the payment processing company soon. McDonald's, the world's most famous fast food company, has a market cap of $135 billion. Bitcoin at $163 billion looks supersized in comparison. IBM, the enterprise computing giant, has a market cap of $140 billion. Bitcoin is worth almost $25 billion more than IBM. Disney, the current value of all Walt Disney stock is $155 billion. Who needs Disneyland when you've got the Bitcoin roller coaster to ride? General Electric, you might have heard of GE. They were once the largest company in the world and still retain almost 300,000 employees. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has 0 official employees and yet is worth several $billion more. Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. Bill Gates is worth just $87 billion, though if the benefactor hadn't given away 700 million Microsoft shares plus other donations to charity, he'd be worth $150 billion right now. The first person since Gates to exceed a net worth of $100 billion is Jeff Bezos. The Amazon CEO's assets place him on a par with the cryptocurrency market, excluding Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. The total supply of currency in Denmark. BitGo's Jameson Lopp has Bitcoin currently at 27th in the world's top currencies, ahead of Denmark and level with Venezuela. His M1 index lists the total quantity of currency in circulation, notes and coins, plus demand deposits denominated in the national currency. 135 of the world's 191 countries. Bitcoin's presently nestling between the GDP of Kazakhstan and Qatar. Next in its sights, Romania, Greece, Czech Republic, and New Zealand. Korea's largest financial exchange. This one's cheating, because to outmuscle Korea's Kosdaq exchange, you have to include the value of the entire cryptocurrency market. Nevertheless, it's another milestone. At 300 plus billion, cryptocurrency is worth 25 billion more than Korea's Nasdaq. The cryptocurrency market is also worth $50 billion more than Visa. Bitcoin's transformative value is about much more than its current price against the US dollar. That merely provides an indication of the growing demand for the cryptocurrency. As veterans will confirm, the virtual currency is just capable of going sideways or south for extended periods. While it's fun to marvel at Bitcoin's growth, it's important not to get too carried away. If you're new to Bitcoin, start saving with it, transacting with it, using it for remittance, and repurposing it in any other way you see fit. Only then will you start to appreciate the true value of Bitcoin. I appreciate the value of Bitcoin. As I stated earlier, the two ways of making money in this space: buying and holding, or letting it work for you. August 15th, my business partners and I started to invest. We sent out an invitation to our network. Some of you are on here right now, got that invitation, and you either ignored me, you didn't reply, you laughed, or you called it a scam. 3 months later, we've done almost $3.5 million in group volume. I've made over $60,000 in profit. I only started with $100. And this is just the beginning. And I don't say that to impress you, but to impress upon you. This is happening with or without you. And that short period of time, that sweet spot I thought we would have until February, is quickly closing. I think now the sweet spot will be over by December. By the end of the year is when the sweet spot. Does that mean that there's still not going to be an opportunity? Yes, there will be. There'll still be a huge opportunity. But the sweet spot for those of us that the early adopters, that zone is quickly closing on us, especially because I've learned how to trade. We're now going to have professional hedge fund guys, Wall Street guys with billions of liquid capital coming into this space, investing and trading that you're competing with. Even though I know how to trade, I can't compete with them. I can't compete with them on experience, and I can't compete with them on resources. So Marquis says, so what should we do in the sweet spot? Buy as much as you possibly can while it's cheap. Get involved in programs that's going to allow you to flip your money while you can. While it's cheap, before the herd comes. It's like if you're a surfer and you know ahead of time that the world's largest wave is coming. You got a choice. Two choices. You can sit on the sand, the beach, and watch that wave, or you can get your surfboard, get out there in the water, and be positioned to ride it all the way to the shore. That's what you can do. If you're on the MLM side, let me use this analogy. How many of you would have loved to be in Amway right when Bill Britt got started? You come from ACN. How many of you have loved to be with Debbie Davis and Greg Provenzano and the Koupas twins? Mike and Tony Koupas. When they were launching it from their kitchen table in the garage, putting the kits together. How would you have liked to be a part of that then? How would you like to have joined TLC when Kenny Lloyd joined TLC? How would you have liked to be front line or right on the leg with Holton Buggs when he went on to Organo Gold and ride that wave? This makes all of those things pale in comparison. Bitcoin millionaires within 1 year or less. So I told Jan this, I'm not on the 1 year plan. We're on the 4 to 6 month plan. Can you imagine where we're going to be just 3 months from now? I already know. All right, let's look at some cool. Let me go back to this article here. Bitcoin is what email was in the early 90s. This is important because I look at the news. The CEO of Overstock was on Fox Business Network the other day, and he did a piss poor job of trying to explain Bitcoin, but he's invested in it heavily because Overstock is allowing Bitcoin payments. So they kind of made him look kind of silly, but they asked him, they took the same approach to Bitcoin with him, the same way the news and media did to Bill Gates in the late 80s and early 90s when they were asking, what is the internet? What is email? And that's exactly where we are right now with Bitcoin when it comes to mainstream. When the news are trying to report on this, they're trying to understand it. I mean, this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, those of you that watched The Big Bang Theory, there's over 12 million viewers of that show. The entire show is going to be dedicated to Bitcoin. So we've got 12 million Americans are about to be exposed to Bitcoin for 30 minutes. And what Bitcoin is and, the comedy of the show. It's going mainstream and people are asking questions. So let me read this article. Bitcoin is what email was in the early 90s. With all the news of adoption and mass appeal, people need to remember that despite Bitcoin price breaking $10,000, less than 1% of the world's population actively uses it. That's the scary thing right there. That's what I mean by the sweet zone. It reached $10,000 and less than 1% of the world's population is involved. What do you think is going to happen when it hits 10% of the world's population is involved? Many have likened... There is a lot of noise around the digital currency, but it's still a small fish in the global economy. Many have likened Bitcoin to the dot-com bubble, waiting to burst as people throw money at it like the companies back in the emergence of the internet. But Bitcoin is not a company. It is a technology, and it sits on the precipice like email did in 1994. Can you imagine people back then saying, "Oh yeah, email's a bubble. It's gonna burst." Well, burst. Do you know not Facebook. Bitcoin has already had 4 major crashes. See, when something in a bubble bursts, it doesn't refill back up. It's the end of it. And those that survive end up like Amazon.com. But this has already crashed 4 times and come right back. So, this is a technology. Back in 1994, email was globally adopted by around 0.25% of the population. However, it was invented in 1972 by our patent engineer Ray Tomlinson. It was for a very long time the only killer application for the internet. It all sounds quite familiar. Bitcoin, invented in 2008, was mostly a toy for tech geeks and anarchists who saw a revolution in money as the global economy collapsed. But it was just a hobby, nothing else. Then, as it gained momentum, it became the only killer app for the blockchain and dominated that space for some while by itself. In order for email to move from being more than just a toy for techno geeks into the space of mainstream, commercial, and retail use, it needed to tick 3 boxes. The technology itself had to develop so far that it was standard and stable and, of course, useful to users. It had to be made approachable, and the user interface had to shift to be accessible to the everyman. And finally, the user base needed to grow, as that in and itself gave email its value in a virtuous cycle. So what about Bitcoin's path here? The early similarities between email and Bitcoin are there. But it is when you start to plot its adoption graph that you note more similarities. 2013 had signs of adoption as Coinbase did a lot to open the market up with easy access and a good interface for any user to understand and use Bitcoin. But there was still a lot of technological issues that needed to be solved. Problems like an unintentional hard fork, few user-friendly interfaces, and a minimal network effects all dogged Bitcoin's growth and adoption. That has changed now. In 2017, as even the so-called Civil War is over and the protocol has proved steady in the face of most technological gremlins. User interface and ease of use is so through the roof that elderly mothers and grandmothers can use wallets and access their Bitcoin, and even more so with the announcement of ETFs, futures, and even ATMs. And finally, Bitcoin, of course, provides value. It is literally a store of value, but it is also a disruptive technology that is challenging the hegemony of the banking system and freeing many people from their chains of debt. Bitcoin entrepreneur Eric Voorhees said back in 2014, "We still have a very long way to go in absolute terms." In response to the idea that Bitcoin was already breaking into the mainstream back then, it was worth $340 to $530 in April of that year. Do you hear that? Bitcoin was worth $340. Voorhees added, both the internet and PayPal had a long period where people heard of it and sort of knew what it was before they really tried it out. Previous Bitcoin Foundation Executive Director Patrick Merck said back in 2014 as well, blockchain-based products are starting to emerge that solve real problems for people that will drive adoption and growth, the pie for the whole Bitcoin community. Really, there has been a jump from 2014 to 2017, and relatively it is large. But in terms of globally, it is not even noticeable. That's the scary thing right there, guys. 2017 has been historical for the growth of the cryptocurrency market. From $13 billion at the beginning of the year to $300 billion today. That's just 11 months. And this growth, this is why I said the sweet spot. This growth is happening underneath the radar screen. The majority of the world has no idea what's going on. Congratulations to those of you that's even paying attention. Even if you didn't get involved when I sounded the alarm months ago, that's okay. That's okay. Because you are still in the early adopter phase if you get involved now. What will not be okay is if you are still just watching. You are still just listening. And you let 2018 pass by and you're like, I don't know. Shame on you at that point for not getting involved one way or another. Because 2018 is going to make 2017 look like child's play. That's why I said I was hurting earlier. Because I still consider myself late on the game. That I waited until August. I bashed Bitcoin for 2 years. And I waited until August to get involved. And we're killing it. By no means. I'm telling you, we're killing it. But we could have been in so much more better position. I understand why Jan is doing what he's doing. He's up to now, I don't know if Jan's still on, I don't think 700,000 he's got invested. And soon to be a million. A million invested. Do you know what that's pulling a monthly basis? That should be around 3.7, I'm sorry, $370,000 a month off of his investments. Yeah, about $370,000 a month earning off of Bitcoin. And he got started probably around the same time I did, but he had the resources. He went all in. I started with $100, and it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter whether you have a lot. If you have a lot, you're ahead of the game. You can make some things happen very quickly, but you don't have to. Let's see. This is another article. Novogratz rubbishes Bitcoin bubble. He says it's going to reach $40,000 by December 2018. $40,000 per coin. Let's read this article. And I'm going to put this in the chat box here. Don't worry, Dan. You can go back and listen to this at the beginning. It's recorded. All those of you that's coming on late as well. As the world anticipates Bitcoin to hit the $10,000 mark in the coming days, it already has. This says it just came out 4 hours ago. So he must have wrote this a couple of days ago. There is a clear divide between those who call it a bubble and those who see it as the future of money. The meteoric rise in Bitcoin price over the last year has made many a fortune. But November has seen a new wave of good sentiment towards cryptocurrencies by mainstream financial institutions. A lot has been made of the possibility of Bitcoin futures being offered on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange by JP Morgan Chase, one of the world's largest banks, coming out with the public plans to get in on the action, while others have scrambling. Wait, what's that, Kirill Sky? You made $253K in interest in the last 45 days? That's what I'm talking about. That's what he's done? Yeah, okay. Kirill, I don't know you. I don't think we've met or had a chat. I know Jan. But you're sitting in for Jan, good. Closing in for 800K. It's made $253,000 in interest in the last 45 days. That's crazy. I've done 60K. That gives me, I want to be like Jan when I grow up. Let me continue with this article. People making money here, everybody. All right. Ironically, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon is one of those naysayers, calling Bitcoin a fraud. Even more telling is governmental bans of cryptocurrencies in China and Russia. On the other hand, Renowned investors and analysts have been all for virtual currencies. Last week, high-profile fund manager Michael Novogratz said that a large number of institutional investors with large sums of capital were gearing up to enter the Bitcoin market. 7 days later, Bitcoin strengthened a further $1,000 in value, surpassing $9,000 and currently hovers below the $10,000 milestone. Right now it's past 10,000. Inevitable corrections, and this is important to listen to, okay? Because the haters, the ones I call Agent Smiths, the people that bash Bitcoin, they call it a bubble, they say it's a fraud, they say it's a scam, in efforts to save you. They say every business and opportunity in crypto is also a scam because they're looking out for the community. Those people, they're quiet right now. You're not hearing anything from them, but you will. And you will because the market will correct. So when it corrects, the one thing that I can't predict on this, because when you look at the history of Bitcoin, whenever it goes up, it has a correction and it goes down a little bit. And then it goes up. I can't predict this only because the CME hasn't even launched yet. And when the CME launches, that's when more money the real money is coming into this space. The current rise right now is anticipation of the CME. So we don't know how high this is going to go before it actually corrects. Because the people buying high right now, they're not going to sell. Because they are betting on the CME when it goes live and more billions is dumped into the space for Bitcoin to go even higher. And then they will sell. So I don't know yet. This is uncharted territory. I don't know yet is when the CME launches in December 11th. And let's say Bitcoin jumps another $2,000 or $3,000 and goes to 13, 14K. How high is that going to go before the whales decide, all right, let me take my profits and do a sell-off? So this is unknown. So I will say this. Let's say there's a market correction right now and it goes down. I would say it would go down the worst, maybe up to $7,500. So $7,500 per coin if there's a market correction right now. If it continues to rise all the way through the CME, and the CME pumps another $14,000 value in just in the month of December, and then there's a correction, I see it falling back down to $10,000 a coin after the CME launch. But again, I don't know. We are living through a historic time. There's going to be movies and documentaries about this time right now. And you are part of it. You are in the game. That's what's exciting about it. So let me continue to read this. Amid the madness. You think I'm on point, Kirill? All I know right now is let's make as much Bitcoin as we possibly can right now. And I'm going to share my own personal strategy at the end of this article. So amid the madness, there is bound to be talk of a bubble and a coming correction. But that didn't stop Novogratz from predicting the Bitcoin price heading towards $40,000 in 12 months. He says Bitcoin could be at $40,000 at the end of 2018. It easily could. Ethereum, which I think just touched $500 or is getting close, could be triple where it is as well. Novogratz attributed the growing uptake of Bitcoin to its supply, with a cap of 21 million coins. The market cannot be flooded with more stock as prices rise. The scalability of the blockchain also contributes to the growing demand. What's different about these coins than other commodities? There is no supply response here. So it's a speculator's dream in that as buying happens, there's no new supply response that comes up. So every price move gets exaggerated. It's going to get exaggerated on the way up. There will be 50% corrections. It will get exaggerated on the way down. That's when you're going to start to hear the haters. when the correction happens and it drops $4,000 or $5,000, they're going to come out, see, I told you it was a bubble. I told you it was going to pop. And then I'm going to be right there to say, yeah, but it's still more than it was 3 months ago. And they're going to say, well, it's still a bubble. It's the tulip mania. Okay. You keep saying that as it goes all the way to $100,000. Even Jamie Dimon predicted that Bitcoin will go at least to $100,000 per coin. I don't know if he slipped when he made that statement and he forgot that he's supposed to be bashing it publicly, but he did make the statement. It's going to go at least to $100,000 a coin. What's different about these coins than other commodities? There is no supply. I already got that. The former hedge fund billionaire was not the only analyst to concede that corrections would be an inevitable part of Bitcoin's future. Host of RT's Kaiser Report, Max Kaiser, also predicts a looming correction in the future. However, the American broadcaster believes that will only occur when Bitcoin hits the $25,000 mark. Up until that price is achieved, it looks like we'll see a pretty strong upward move. All right, that's all I'm going to start for right now because I'm going to do late night crypto talk and I got some investors to talk to. But here's what I will share. I will share my current strategy. And really, it's going to start for me in 2018 because my whole strategy right now is to use the money that I'm making to refill my coffers. Meaning I've been self-employed since 2012, working full-time from home. But not every year has been a good year. And especially the last 12 months haven't been very good. So my strategy is to completely be 100% debt-free, to have $100,000 in my bank account, to be able to, if I weren't able to make any money, to be able to pay all of my bills for at least a year. And, that's my short-term goal. But my long-term strategy, and I'll repeat this for those that just joined, and you're just coming in and hearing about Bitcoin, you're hearing coworkers talk about it, friends and family at Thanksgiving might have been talking about it, and you're asking yourself, how can I get involved in this Bitcoin thing? How can I be a part of it? How can I profit from it? Well, the best time to get in Bitcoin has already passed. Those who invested from 2009 to 2015 and 16 that are sitting on at least more than 5 to 10 Bitcoin, they are in the sweet zone because they're going to ride the wave of these Bitcoins, the Bitcoins they have, doubling and tripling in value, all the way up to 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 per coin. You guys made it. The price of Bitcoin now at $10,000 for the average person is not realistic for the average American to go out there and buy 5 to 10 Bitcoin without incurring a major hit financially, meaning either getting a mortgage, getting a loan, selling their car, selling their house, or something like that. I say that with confidence because the average American has less than $1,000 in their savings account and is living paycheck to paycheck. So they don't have the resources other than pulling out their 401k of buying a bunch of Bitcoin right now. That's not feasible. But all is not lost. But if you do, now, and I'm going to use this as an example, if you were to buy one Bitcoin right now for $10,000, how are you going to make money off of that? Well, you just sit on it and you hold it. And you wait for it to rise in value. Let's just assume Bitcoin goes to $100,000 in 1 year. Your $10,000 investment, and you're holding it as a store of value, you just made $90,000 in 1 year off of a $10,000 investment. That is if you decide to sell once it hits $100,000. $90,000 in 1 year. That's a hell of an investment off of one Bitcoin. Imagine those people out there right now that's sitting on 15 Bitcoin, 100 Bitcoin. I know people that are sitting over 700 Bitcoin they're sitting on right now. They got it when it was like $300, $400 a coin. Think of where they're going to be. But let's just talk about you. The second way is to invest in this space in the trading side of things, whether you're trading yourself or you're using an auto trader. Either way, so that you're earning interest on your money, letting money work for you. See, most Americans are trading time for money. They go to work, they get paid for how many hours they're working a week. If you want more money, you need to work more hours or get a second job. What the wealthy do is the wealthy let money work for them. They live off the interest. While I was asleep last night, I made $400 while I was sleeping. I want you to think about that for a second. I made $400 while I was sleeping before I got up this morning. See, the wealthy live off the interest of their money and never touch the capital. So, let's say I take the same $10,000, because I don't actually buy Bitcoin. I earn Bitcoin. I don't buy it. I spent the first time I bought Bitcoin was 1 year ago. I bought 3 of them when it was worth 740 something bucks a piece. That was November 2016. December 2016, you know what I did? I sold those Bitcoin because I wanted to use that money. It was like over 2,100 bucks for Christmas. December was a bad month for me financially last year. So I had to use other resources to keep, so I sold my Bitcoin. And I didn't plan on it when I first bought it. I wanted to hold it. But, life happened. So I sold it for Christmas. That was the most expensive Christmas that I will ever have. When each Bitcoin is worth $100,000 per coin. But the next time I invested in Bitcoin was $100 August 15th. Meaning I actually bought Bitcoin. $100 August 15th. I flipped that. But I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I had $10,000 and I invested it. Not by just buying a Bitcoin and holding it. I invested it in the cryptocurrency space. 1 year from now, I would make over $1 million. So what's better? A $90,000 profit by buying one Bitcoin and holding it for 1 year, or investing it and making $1 million 1 year later off that same $10,000? That's why I said all is not lost for those of you who think you can't afford a $10,000 Bitcoin, because you're going to get used to the word Satoshi, meaning that Bitcoin can be split up. And what is it? You guys on here, I forgot the decimal. Was it 8 decimal spaces? 8 or 9 decimal spaces? Something like that. You can buy a piece of a Bitcoin. Even if you bought $100 worth of a Bitcoin right now, do you know what that would be worth if Bitcoin goes up to $100,000 per coin? That's worth $1,000 or more. So you can still get in on the game. So here's my current strategy. I'm already investing in it. I'm already earning, dang, I'm afraid to say this, but I will. I said I would. About $800 to $1,200 a day is what I'm earning right now in this space, whether I get out of bed or not. About $800 to $1,200 a day. Some days it's a slow day. I make $600. So my goal is to continue to invest, and I want to get to the point where I'm doing $2,000 to $3,000 a day in the next 6 months. So if I'm doing, what was the numbers to be doing $1 million a year? I think it's like $2,500 a day. You got to be making. I gotta re-look that up again. But that's my goal in the next 6 months, to be doing on a consistent basis between $2,500 $3,000 a day. The other thing I want to be doing is putting aside of those Bitcoins that I'm earning to hold, so that I'm also investing on just holding the Bitcoin as a store of value at the same time, so that as it continues to grow, then I'll have 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 Bitcoins that I'm holding on to in a cold storage. Because if the next 5 years they hold true and Bitcoin is worth $1 million per coin, I've got 5 coins. That's $5 million sitting there. So now I'm looking long term for my family, my grandchildren. Same thing, I'm going to have accounts set up for my children. so that by the time, my 10-year-old graduates from college, by the time he reaches college, he's making more money than the college professors. Far more. So now they can fund whatever dream they have rather than thinking about looking for a job. Thank you, John. 2,700 per day is $1 million a year. So that's the goal. I'm at right now 800 to 1,200 a day. And that's just after 3 months. It'll be 4 months, December 15th. So we're at almost 3.5 months. And I am by far not even on the radar screen as far as what the top guys are doing. Like Jan on here is doing. He's doing, I think, 6,000 plus a day. Kathy Keene is doing 7,000 to 10,000 a day. And I'll also say this. In 2018, I'm going to be ghost. Meaning, I will still be doing these Facebook Lives, and I'll be talking about Bitcoin and the news and the industry. But you won't hear me talking about what I'm personally doing. I'm not going to put a target on my back. All right? I'm going to be ghost on that. And I don't need to. I don't need to go out. This is not MLM. You know how MLM people are. They got to show the house, the car. They're on a private plane with a stack of money on the table on the plane. They got to show the lifestyle. If you're in Bitcoin, you ain't got to show the lifestyle. People already know what your lifestyle is. If you're in Bitcoin, there ain't no need to prove nothing to nobody. So I won't be talking about what I'm currently making or what I own or what I have. I'll just be an advocate for this space and an advocate for programs that can help the average person get started and being able to invest. So if that is you, you're like, look, I can't ignore this anymore. I'm looking foolish now. I'm looking kind of ignorant. Brandon, I ignored you months ago. It's okay. I understand. It's not too late. Shoot me a private message. Notice I still, even on these, I don't throw out names of companies or businesses that you should be a part of. There's plenty of them out there. If you want to know what I'm doing, you send me a private message and I'll hook you up. Show you how to get involved. And my last word of advice on this. Do not, I repeat, do not invest in money you cannot afford to lose. Rule number 1. Rule number 2. Get educated on this space. I saw a post from some guy, and this was just the stupidest thing I saw because it's basic Bitcoin and cryptocurrency 101. If you guys have a PayPal wallet, then it'll be easy for you to know you need to get a Bitcoin wallet yourself. And Bitcoin transactions, meaning moving money around, Bitcoin is not the only coin. There's Bitcoin Cash, there's Bitcoin Gold, there's Ethereum, there's Lite, there's Dash, Monero. There's over 1,000 other cryptocurrencies out there. And when you're moving from one wallet to another wallet, there's something that's called an address. Each wallet has its own address. And you have to make sure you're using the right address on where you're sending your money. And this guy sent Bitcoin to a Bitcoin Cash address and is wondering how to get his money back or what happened to the money. And I'm like, are you serious? He didn't do it just once. He did it like 2 or 3 times. What the hell? Dude. That's like you're banking at Bank of America and you send your paycheck to Wells Fargo Bank where you don't even have an account. This is basic information. Number 1, go to Netflix and pull up a documentary called Banking on Bitcoin to get a basic understanding of the history of Bitcoin. That's just basic, and it's old because that documentary is not taking into account anything from 2017. I think it ends in 2015, 2016. Go to YouTube and type in Bitcoin documentaries. Learn the space. I'm even part of an education program that teaches you this. So if you're not willing to get educated in this area, you only have the mindset, I want to make money, I want to make money, this is not for you. This is a brand new emerging industry. You got to I spent 3.5 months before I invested, and I only invested $100. All right? I was as skeptical can be. So with that, you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I fully expect there to be more record-breaking news before I do my late night crypto tonight. The value of crypto or Bitcoin as I'm speaking. Let me pull this up again on CoinMarketCap. That's another website you want to be familiar with. CoinMarketCap.com. CoinMarketCap.com. It's $10,063 right now. One of my investments, BitConnect, is at $286 per coin. Bitcoin has a $168 billion market cap, and total value is now up to $310 billion from the total cryptocurrency space. Keep watching or get involved. Bitcoin Brandon out. Oh yeah, today's Tuesday, so I will be doing a presentation tonight. If you want to know how to invest in this space, you want to get in on this space, shoot me a message. I'll send you the link to tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Shoot me an info and I'll give you the link to that tonight. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.